Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, all series videos. Thank you so much for the likes, the comments, and for subscribing. In this video, I'll be updating you on unfortunate love. Balwinder and Kamli gets married. The shocking thing is that Balwinder was so happy that he has married Lakshmi and even called the bride Lakshmi Balwinder, not knowing that he married Kamli. And Malishka was so happy. She was so happy that Lakshmi has married Balwinder, but got the shock of her life. Please subscribe to this channel and don't forget to click on the notification button to be notified anytime I drop a new video. Please like this video, download this video, give it a thumbs up. Tell me what you feel about this video in the comment section. Let's go. The episode starts with Rishi holding Lakshmi's face and keeping his head on her head. Music plays. He says, "Black dog bites if they don't collide their heads again." He holds her hand and asks her not to go. He says, "Please don't go until marriage happens. We shall wait here." Lakshmi asks him to leave her hand. Rishi says, "I will do here alone. I will get bored," and asks her to stay back and we will talk. He says, "We don't want anyone to look at us, so please sit with me. Just as marriage finishes, we will go outside." Pandit G tells that now the bride and groom's rounds will happen. Balwinder asks him to get it done fast. Rishi asks Lakshmi, "Shall I ask you something?" and says it is not personal, but it is like personal, but not that type. Lakshmi asks him to ask her or leave it. Rishi asks if it was her plan to get Balwinder and Kamli married. Lakshmi says no. "First, I agreed for Neha's future. Thinking about Shalu and Bani was burdened by Chachi's favors." And Rishi says, "So that Malishka and I get married." This was one more reasons. Balwinder dances while taking rounds with Kamli. Oh no, I need to repeat here. Balwinder dances while taking rounds with Kamli. Ayush, Shalu and Bani are smiling. Pandit G asks the brides to walk in front. Balwinder says, "Lakshmi, move forward." He takes round with her, while Rano throws the flower petals on them. Malishka comes to Neelam and says, "Finally, our life's biggest hurdle is out from our lives." Neelam nods her head. Lakshmi asks, "Shall I ask you something?" Rishi says, "You don't need permission. You can ask anything." Lakshmi says, "You didn't change." He asks if this is compliment and says, "I will not change for you." Lakshmi says, "You sat on Balwinder's place and asked if you would have married me if I was on Kamli's place." Rishi tells that he would have married her, but he didn't sit there to marry her. He says, "It would be wrong if I have married you by cheat, like before, and this would be betrayal to Malishka also." He asks if you will forgive me for my mistake. Lakshmi recalls seeing him with Malishka on the bed and asks if he is talking about the mistakes that he sat on the mandap and hurdled came between Balwinder and Kamli's marriage. Pandit G says rounds are completed and asks them to sit. He asks Balwinder to apply Sindor. Charlo asks him to make sure that he doesn't see her face, else inauspicious things will happen. Balwinder's Chachi says yes, it happens. Balwinder fills Kamli's mang with Sindor and makes her wear Margasutra without seeing her face. Pandit G says marriage is completed and asks them to take elders' blessings. Shalu asks Bani where is Dee, as blast will happen now. Kamli smiles and gets up. She touches Pandit G's feet and then Balwinder's feet. Balwinder feels proud and blesses her to be happily married always. Gudu and his friends come inside. Gudi says marriage happened and Rishi haven't come. Balwinder tells that he has married her, witnessing 33 Coral, Devis and Devdas. He says, "You have become Mrs. Balwinder Sood," and asks them to clap. Everyone claps. He says, "Now I will lift the veil." Daddy tells that Lakshmi was their Bahu. Now they have no relation with her. tells that heart is crying for Lakshmi, that she ruined her life marrying such a man. Virender says, I am unlucky that I couldn't save my daughter's life. Balwinder says, Mrs. Lakshmi Balwinder sued and asks everyone to clap. Malishka smiles. Rishi asks Lakshmi if she didn't take off her Mangalsutra. Lakshmi says, when I had worn it, when you made me wear it, that day I had worn it with trust and it became the part of my identity. And that's why my relation with it haven't ended, even after marriage breakup. She says, I will go. Balwinder might have seen that the bride is someone else and he will take out anger on Shalu and Bani. Rishi says, I will go down. And Ayush and Dad are there. He asks her to be here. Lakshmi says no. I have cheated Balwinder, though I got his marriage done. She says I will handle it and goes. Balwinder lifts the veil and looks at Kamli. He then covers her face with veil. He opens his hair and then lifts her veil again. He gets shocked. Everyone sees Kamli and gives mixed reactions on not seeing Lakshmi as the bride. Ayush says, now everyone shall clap. Balwinder asks Kamli, how did you come here? Kamli says, you are my husband and I am your wife. Balwinder slaps her and throws the flower petals plate. He shouts, where is Lakshmi? He asks Pandit Ji, what did he do? He says, you shall get Lakshmi and my marriage done. He tries to suffocate Kamli and presses her neck. Shalu and Bani ask him to leave her. Lakshmi comes there and shouts, Balwinder. She saves Kamli. Balwinder asks what is going on. First, Shalu sat on the mandap, and now this woman says we shall get married. Lakshmi says no, tells that our marriage can never happen. Yours and Kamli's marriage was destined, as she's carrying your child in her womb. She says Kamli and your marriage was necessary and she got it done. Balwinder is angry and says you got this marriage done by cheat. I don't regard this inauspicious woman as my wife. I regard you as my wife. He says he has rode many papads to marry her. Malishka thinks he might expose me. Balwinder tells Lakshmi that he loves her. Lakshmi says, do you know the meaning of love? And says you did all this in the name of love. She is pregnant with your child. She says Kamli is your wife and she got justice. She says Kamli got her husband and her baby got his father's name. Balwinder says I don't regard her as my wife and says I will marry you. He says she was just my time pass. Lakshmi slaps Balwinder and says, didn't you feel shame to insult the woman? She says, your mother who gave birth to you was also a woman. She asks, what do you think about women? As a lifeless toy? She warns him not to say anything against Kamli. Balwinder asks, shall I do her arty? He says, didn't you betray me? If this is not insult, ask her not to lecture him. He says, we will marry now, and asks Pandit Ji to get Lakshmi and his marriage done. Pandit Ji refuses and runs from there. Balwinder asks Lakshmi to come with him and take rounds with her. Lakshmi asks him to leave her hand. Kamli holds his legs and tells Balwinder that she will keep him happy. Balwinder pushes her and says, you will keep me happy when you leave from here, and asks her to not show her face to him again. He sees Mangalsutra which he made her wear and tries to snatch it. Kamli says, it is the sign of my marriage. Balwinder says, to hell with it. Kamli pushes him and says, we are married now. You are my husband and I am your wife. Balwinder is about to hit her when Lakshmi shouts and asks him not to harm Kamli. She asks him to move back and tells that Kamli is pregnant with your child. Balwinder asks what nonsense and asks Ranu, you have taken money from me, so get the marriage done. Ranu gets worried and says she took money for marriage arrangement. Balwinder asks her to convince Lakshmi. Ranu tells Lakshmi that you agreed to marry Balwinder. Then why you did this? She says, what shall I answer? Shalu asks, why will you give him answer? Ayush says, Shalu is right. Marriage is done. Nobody is answerable to him. Balwinder says, it was my marriage. If Lakshmi doesn't marry me, then I will not leave her to marry someone else. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and come back for more updates from your favorite Z Word series.